Hello, beautifully inspired humans. I'm Desiree and welcome to my Inspired Human channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the projection field, what it is, and how it correlates to the human design system. So the projection field, what is the projection field? And simply put, the projection field is just our beliefs, our thoughts, and our actions that are given to the outside world or our environment, as well as the information that we're receiving from other people and our environment as well. So when we're talking about the projection field, it can be a interpersonal thing or it can be an intrapersonal thing. The way I like to look at the projection field is like this big cloud of just personal biases and opinions and beliefs and everything that you can pretty much imagine. And what people do is, as they navigate through this projection field or the world that we live in, is you pick up different ideals based on your conditioning, your environment, or whatever resonates with you. So this is where the conditioning process actually takes place, is through this projection field. So that's why it makes it really difficult to navigate between, living out your own design and as well as understanding how other people view you. You can then therefore accept a person's bias or dismiss a person's bias, or you can just kind of understand a different person's perspective and how they're perceiving you. But in order to really understand and to navigate through this projection field, you have to understand the human design system and your profile lines. So in this video, I'm not going to go over all of the 12 profiles. Rather, I'm just going to explain what each line means. So it's really important that you look at the whole body graph whenever you're determining or doing a personality analysis. And the reason why I say the personality analysis is because if you look at your profile, you'll notice that there's two numbers, right? And the first number here is in black, and then the second number is in red. And the first number that you see here is what is conscious to you, and the second number is what is unconscious to you. But later on in life, that line will become conscious. So lines 1 through 3 are intrapersonal lines. And what that means is that the people with these lines are more concerned with focusing on themselves, but not so much in a very egoic way. Lines 4 through 6 are interpersonal lines, and this just means that these are the lines that bring in the other person. So it's no longer just a person standing alone, but it's also considering, other people in this equation or in your perspective. So by explaining what these lines mean and understanding that it's the first line, that's what's conscious and that's your personality, and that the second line is the unconscious parts of yourself and that is your design, will help you navigate this projection field of how you're perceiving others and how others are perceiving you. So line 1 is the investigator, and it's also interpersonal line, which just means that the investigator is somebody that likes to do research. They like to dig deep and to make sure that they have all of their bases and all the information that they're looking for before they can proceed with a decision or proceed with an action or proceed, into the projection field and how they're, being projected. But it's also a interpersonal design, which means that the person with the one line is also doing some self-reflection as well and very consciously aware of how they are being perceived, to the outside world. And the first line is about the individuality of a person, and not so much as the second line where it's the Hermit, but it's just that the first line can also, like to be alone whenever it's investigating. So the second line, or line 2 of the human design system, is the line of the Hermit. And the line of the Hermit is pretty much self-explanatory. Somebody holding this line or this 2 line is going to need a lot of time alone. They need a lot of their alone time to collect themselves and to regenerate. There's really no other way for somebody holding this 2 line to regenerate or to really project or operate or to be themselves unless they have the ample alone time that they need. But the second line is also the line of projection. And what this really means is that somebody holding this 2 line, even though they want to have that alone time and they need to have that alone time, they may not always get that, because what other people are seeing with somebody in the 2 is that your gifts are like right there on the forefront, and we kind of see your gifts and who you are. You're kind of like an open book. So what this does is it draws people into you. So somebody with a 2 line would want to be alone, but they always, not always, but they will encounter this projection from others of wanting to get close to them, of wanting to go near them, and wanting to bask in their beautiful gifts that is so easily seen with somebody carrying a 2 line. So let's move to line 3. Line 3 in the human design system is known as the line of the Martyr. And this can be a little bit confusing, because when you think of the 3rd line, it's not really anything about, standing up for what you believe in and, willing to put your life on the line for it. Rather, the 3rd line is more of a line of adaptation or experimentation, because people with the 3rd line go through a lot of trial and error in their life. This is how they learn. Somebody with the 3rd line is going to encounter some failures in life, many failures in life. But the thing about the 3rd line is that just because, they experience all of these different, failures or these trial and errors and doing things that just don't work out in their favor, is that the 3rd line looks at these failures or these things that didn't play out the way that they wanted to, and they make the adjustments to try it in a different way. So the 3rd line is not really like the 3rd line of, oh, I did it this way and it didn't work out, so I'm just going to give up completely. Like, no, they'll adapt themselves, they'll readjust themselves, and then, tackle the task or whatever it is that they're working on or focusing on and approach it in a different way. So the 4th line, the human design system, is the line of the Opportunist. And what this means is that your perspective and the way that you navigate the projection field is you have the ability to see opportunities that other people may not be able to see. This is the line of externalization. So if you hold this 4th line, not only are you able to see, in the projection field, different opportunities, but you're able to externalize them as well. So somebody that holds the 4th line is going to be really great at networking. They're really great with establishing friendships. They're really great at bringing people together. This is like the line of, the gathering, or like the line of the brotherhood and the sisterhood. If you hold the 4th line in your profile, then you have a really great discernment in knowing whether or not relationships, they're going to be good relationships or bad relationships. Like, you have this ability to know whether 2 people would, be compatible, whether it's a friendship or whatever, but you understand just the different aspects and the different personalities of people. And whenever you're able to externalize them, this can be really beneficial, especially for the community or like your household. You can be really great at being, peacemakers. So the 5th line in the human design system is the line of the Heretic. And this line is about universalization. So just like the somebody holding the 4th line, they can look out into the projection field and see different opportunities, and then, externalize those opportunities. What the 5th line does is they see all of these different perspectives, and they bring them all together to universalize this one specific things. So having this 5th line means that, people are just naturally drawn to you, and they're looking for this universalization that you're able to provide for them, because you're able to have this, higher perspective, or not so much a higher perspective, but the ability to see just different perspectives. And then when you're able to see all these different perspectives, you can find the similarities and universalize it and convey it in a message that, resonates with the majority. But with the 5th line, there's also the problem that you can't feel everybody's, desire. So when you have these projections of people that are coming toward you and saying, oh, you have all the answers I'm looking for, well, sometimes you just don't, right? No one here is perfect, and it's really impossible to understand or to know what somebody is wanting from you. You just know that they want something from you, and whether or not you can deliver that is dependent upon your own personal design. You've got to look at your gates and who you are as a person, your conditioning, and so forth. So when that happens and somebody comes to you and you're not able to provide them with whatever they're looking for, then you're pretty much like, I don't want to say an enemy, but they're discredited. They're not really too into what you have to say. So the final line in the human design system is line 6, and this is the line of the role model, and it is a transition line. So what this means for somebody carrying the 6th line means that at the first part of your life, all the way up to like around 28 or 30, depending on your Saturn return, it varies, but usually like around 28 to 30, you're going to have this shift, which means that from birth all the way up to your first Saturn return, you're going to live your life through the 3rd line, which is the line of trial and error. And then from about 30 to 50, you're going to begin to start to, understand more about yourself. You're going to start to begin to develop into this 6th line of being the role model. And then from 50 onward, well, now you are the role model. And, you have already gone through all of this trial and error, and have this experience to where now you're able to be the role model for the rest of the people. Now people look up to you because you have the experience and you gained this knowledge through the experience that you can give to other people. So having the 6th line as your design means that, you have this great wisdom, and you can become great teachers. And once this line matures, as you get older, you can then begin to impart that wisdom and impart your information and that knowledge from everything that you gained through, your trial and error. So if you look at your own profile and you notice that you have 2 conflicting lines within your profile, and you want me to elaborate a little bit more on how to navigate the projection field, then just comment down below and I can make another video or help you in that way. And until next time, guys, bye. Hello, beautifully designed screensavers. Of universe. Hello. And I have to also understand that any of these deconditioning, they